What can I say about Film Brain? Well, he likes using my title sequences. In fact, he's using my title sequence today, one I've especially designed for him for this 100th episode. After working on NerdQuest with him and finding out that he didn't even write me a cameo for his 100th episode, which I thought was really cheap considering all the work I've done for him and he never pays me. Shut the fuck up. Oh yeah, and another thing, man. I don't care about Top Cat. Nobody cares about Top Cat. Stop talking about goddamn Top Cat. For a whole week, it was nothing but Top Cat, 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 Top Cat. Anyway, enjoy your 100th episode. Arse.
He's British, and he says things in a funny way, like it's pissing it down when it's raining, and when something's bad, oh, that's totally pants. Pants are not just for your legs anymore. I'm serious, they use that word there. But, I mean, you know, between you and me, I think it's kind of fake. I don't know if he's really British, because, I mean, there's no way that he's that British and that stereotyped.
Okay, he loves his own jokes. Like, he'll post something on Twitter, and then I'll see it, and sometimes I'll laugh, it's kind of funny or whatever, and then he'll come downstairs and he'll say the exact same thing, and he laughs himself, and then I'm just like, yeah, dude, I just read that, and it wasn't even that funny.
Yeah, and he makes so much noise, it's unbelievable. He has this, like, crazy, maniacal laugh you can hear from
it's just like
the house. Or all day.
I just thought he was gay.
Well, we were both straight guys, but then I shared a passionate bromance together with him. I once had a candlelit dinner with him, and it was one of the most erotic experiences of my life.
Hello and welcome to Bad Movie Beatdown's 100th episode. I didn't even think I'd get this far. We've certainly come a long way since Equilibrium, and in that time I think I've covered virtually every genre and every budget, and we've had plenty of laughs and disagreements along the way. My aim for this series has been both to entertain you and to try and get you to think more critically about the films that you watch, and hopefully I've done that without blowing my own trumpet too much. So what exactly am I going to be reviewing for this prestigious event? Well, how about something from another 100? The IMDb Bottom 100. It's going overboard. I think I've made this clear several times over already, but I'm not a fan of Adam Sandler. I don't hate him personally, I'm sure he's a nice enough guy in real life, but I certainly hate him professionally, or more specifically, I don't like what he stands for. I see him as representing the most crassly commercial and lowbrow instincts of mainstream cinema. I don't hate every movie he's put out, but let's be honest, he's been getting worse, not better. I've already reviewed Grown Ups and Paul Blart Mall Cop, and in the last year we've had Bucky Larson, Jack and Jill, and That's My Boy receive some of the most scathing reviews I've ever read. Adam Sandler is the guy that keeps on giving, and part of the reason why I chose him for this 100th episode is because there's a whole lot more of him coming. Chuck and Larry, Just Go With It, Strange Wilderness, The Master of Disguise, and I've not even summoned up the courage to watch Zookeeper yet. But if you think he's bad now, you should have seen when he started. Sandler, like everyone else, had to work to the top, and the unfortunate thing about that is that people start cashing in on things that you'd really like to forget. Just ask Jim Carrey or Sandra Bullock about that. When Sandler started getting big on SNL, a sly producer saw the perfect opportunity to cash in and unleashed on unsuspecting video stores Going Overboard, which was Sandler's film debut in 1989, after only a few appearances on The Cosby Show to his name. According to IMDb, the film was shot on the cheap, and due to a crew mistake, shot on the wrong lenses. Not that I can see any evidence of this. The film is on the IMDb Bottom 100 and has has been for at least a decade, and that's some sticking power considering how much that list has changed. As of this video, it is 0.3 better than the stupefyingly awful Fat Slags, and obviously Sandler himself has disowned it, as his website neglects to mention this film despite him having the lead role. This one's been a staple of Poundlands and bargain bins far and wide, and with good reason. So let's dig into Adam Sandler's dirty shame. So we start with Burt Young of Rocky fame looking through his porn collection, before then seeing a tape labelled The Unsinkable Shecky Moskowitz, which is inexplicably there, and inserting that tape into the player. What person, when deciding what porn to watch, goes for the one with Adam Sandler's O-face on the cover? And by the way, I'm intentionally not mentioning who Burt Young is playing just yet. We'll get to that one later. So I guess we too are watching The Unsinkable Shecky Moskowitz. Oh, sorry, Going Overboard, the blatantly changed title, starting this abysmal title sequence featuring the worst animation this side of the 50s. Is that supposed to be Adam Sandler I'm looking at? He looks borderline deformed. Ah! Also, it inspires so much confidence in a director when they sign their credit with an exclamation mark. So it's all aboard for the cruise, and our host is the titular Shecky, played by Sandler, who seems to be less setting up the film and more disclaimer.
What you're about to see is a fictitious, loosely thrown together story. This story is based entirely around the fact that we had access to this nice big boat here and a lot of good looking women. Beautiful.
Hi. Hola. Hello.
Hello.
G'day.
Not to sound mean, but they're not really attractive unless you want 80s style big hair, especially not the guy in drag in the middle of it.
This is a no budget flick, not a low budget flick. This would be an earthquake right here. See, that didn't cost us anything right there. Now enjoy the flick.
Hey, my show is no budget too, but that certainly doesn't stop people complaining when it sucks, and it certainly doesn't work for you either. As you can clearly tell, Sandler is very, very green here. It is in fact the first time he's in the lead role, and that's understandable. And it seems the only skill he's acquired at this point is mugging for the camera. A lot. Yes, even at this stage he's acquired that unique brand of annoyance that will define him for the rest of his career. And now we've set sail, so now we're trapped with the bugger.
Hey, waiter! Where's my Bloody Mary?
Ah, yes.
And make it bloody!
Ah, yes, sir.
Hey, asshole! Bring me another one!
Ah, yes, ma'am.
This is the stand of how obnoxiously unlikable the other characters are in this flick, and we're stuck on a cruise ship with these assholes for 90 minutes. Words can't express my excitement. And king of the assholes is the ship's so-called comedian, Dickie Diamond, whose jokes all seem to be about incest, violence, and or obscenities.
I'm over this guy's house, right? We're playing chess, you know, game of chess. Finally, I says, this shit's boring the shit out of me, right? So I took the check piece, I shoved it in his eye. I said, there's fucking chess eye for you.
You rendered someone partially blind. Wait, was that meant to be the punchline? Also, meet Shecky's best friend Bob, who seems to have been wheeled on to make Sandler look like a more natural actor by comparison.
Well, I'm funnier than that guy, don't you think?
I don't know, I haven't heard him.
I got this chick, right? She's got a scissor like a fucking wrestler or something, right? I'm choking, I'm fucking dying. Finally, I said, hey, Grandma, take your fucking varicose sticks off my neck, will you?
Oh, that guy's pretty funny, Shaq.
Oh, man, the guy's talking about incest. It's not funny, the guy needs help.
Oh, come on, you can clearly tell that Sandler's trying not to smirk at the fake laughter. That's not good when he's supposed to be outraged at how bad the act is. Obviously, the filmmakers didn't believe in second takes. And I hope you like Shecky talking to camera because he obviously thinks he's Ferris Bueller.
After I finished cleaning up that lady's vomit, I worked a few more hours, and then I took a little break, and during that break, I wrote a few new jokes, and I think they're pretty good. I'm very happy with myself right now.
Oh, so nothing interesting happened then. See, this is why we have ellipses in filmmaking, so we can skip over the boring parts. Not so you can tell us about them later.
I'm gonna ask the big comedian Dickie Diamond if I could open up for him just one of these nights. What, would you hear that? I bet that's my best friend Bob.
We saw Bob in the last scene. You don't have to introduce him to us again. What's so damn annoying about the talking to the camera is that much of it is really unnecessary. In this scene, he goes on to tell the exact same things to Bob, meaning that we're watching the two characters discuss things that we already know about. Basically, what this film needed was a judicious editor, preferably one that chucked the whole thing in the bin and told him to start over.
What's your name?
Penny Miller.
Boy, nice Jewish name like that. So where'd your mother pop you out?
Sorry.
Bunny, come on, it's not a fucking genius question here. And you lose, Bun. Guess what? You lose. You know what happens to losers? You get your bathing suit ripped off and shoved up your ass.
Who exactly does this guy take tips from? Andrew Dice Clay?
Leave the girl alone and stick to your comedy.
Uh-oh, Mr. Heckler, Mr. Big Man from Hell, the Hell Hecker is here, folks.
Okay, fine. I'm just gonna have to shoot you.
I tell you, there's nothing heavier than a dead comedian.
Oh, nothing except a lead-weighted joke that lands with a resounding thud. And yes, apparently Shecky's stuff is apparently meant to be better, even though it's worse because I can't actually tell which bits are meant to be punchlines. Trust me, I'm actually sparing you by talking over his crap. And if you're wondering why no one cares a man was just shot, it was because it was a dream sequence that went on miles too long. In short, I'm now approximately 2 minutes closer to death. Also on this ship is a rock star by the name of Croker, and the joke is that he's disgustingly unsanitary, which doesn't make me laugh so much as make me feel ill every time he's on screen. I mean, just look at his teeth! But apparently the chicks absolutely love this guy, and ew, no kissing, ew! Are women really lining up to get a fungal infection on their hoo-has? And for goodness sake, man, brush your damn teeth!
So, I'm gonna take a Rain Man on that. Oh, God. I mean a rain check.
That was the director, by the way, and she just said the worst joke in a movie that's absolutely full of terrible jokes. Now, you may think that she never worked again after this, but she's actually gone to direct other things like the comparatively decent Love and Sex. In fact, it's not just Sandler who went on to bigger things. For example, Adam Rifkin, who plays Croker, is a writer-director who went on to write the screenplays for Zoom, Underdog, and Knucklehead. And look, Croker's manager is Peter Berg, who went on to be a director of films like The Rundown, Hancock, and Battleship. When I said bigger, I didn't necessarily mean better.
You see, these guys have nothing to do with this flick, but we threw them in just for a little variety, whatever that means.
Well, that's great. Even the movie's telling us these characters are pointless. And adding to the variety of what exactly? Annoyance and unfunniness?
I'll go get you that drink, alright? Right. Okay. Whoa, that guy's fucked in the head right there.
Dude, the guy is 2 foot in front of you. How did he not hear that? This isn't a Shakespeare play. And now we come to what scholars have come to call the legendary bar scene. Legendary not for what happens in it. Everyone but Shecky is getting chicks, but that's not what I care about right now, but more for the way it's filmed. You see, in a decision which some people might call daring and others outright stupid, this entire 5-minute scene is shot in one very long take. What's more, the idea of being visually interesting is challenged by the fact that the only camera movement is to move across the bar to the next conversation and remaining otherwise static. The result is a flat and boring scene that kills any remaining pacing stone dead, and it just makes you want to scream, "Cut!" I mean, for goodness sake, would it kill them to do some close-ups or cutaways just to break up the footage, or at least take out the noticeable dead spots? This is like every editor's worst nightmare. And why would you even shoot it like this practically? I mean, if one person screws up the take, you have to film the whole thing again. That's just outright incompetent. Also during this scene, we encounter Miss Australia, who is Dickie's girlfriend and just as well-mannered.
Hi.
What the hell do you mean by that? Can't a girl come into a bar and have some peace?
All I said was hi.
Yeah, well, fuck you.
To be fair, Sandler probably gets that reaction from anyone who sat through Jack and Jill. Shecky tries to convince Dickie that he can open for him, but that doesn't go well. Of course, it doesn't help that Shecky is a sycophantic sucker who doesn't know when to shut the hell up when he's been told several times before. You know, I'm actually sympathising with the supposed jerk-ass here.
Come on, why don't you give Mr. Giggles a little kiss here?
Not in front of that pervert.
Did you say something to my girlfriend? Oh, man, I think you did, man. There's your punchline, you stupid fuck.
Alright, empathy is probably the right word here, since I hate them both equally. Oh, and there's another familiar face. That bartender there is frequent Sandler co-collaborator Alan Covert, who was probably roped into this flick because he was a friend. Anyway, the problem with the conflict between the two comics is that we don't really like either, because Dickie's an asshole, but Shecky's so whiny and self-pitying that he's not really that much fun to be around.
Oh, man. I can't get women, I can't get laughs, I
not even a good waiter. This sucks. I'm so depressed.
Bloody hell, he's like me on my Twitter feed. So now we go into that old reserve of movies that have run completely out of ideas, the dream sequence, where he dreams that he's being tortured with terrible jokes, just like the audience.
Here's my clothes in bed.
What the fuck was that? The fact they had to resort to animation because their budget wouldn't cover it just makes it even more baffling. Oh, screw you, movie. Another one right after? At least it has something to do with beautiful bikini-clad women, which, if I recall, was kind of meant to be the main point of this movie.
Soon we'll be married. Mommy! What the hell are you doing, Shecky? I knew you were suicidal. You're gonna die from this, Shecky. Your weenie's gonna fall off just like your father's.
I'm feeling less like an audience member and more like Shecky's psychiatrist. Okay, Mr. Moskowitz, you like to talk to invisible cameras that aren't there. That's interesting. And you're so sexually repressed that your mother turns up in your sex dreams? Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself, Mr. Moskowitz? Maybe a bedwetting problem, perhaps? And if it's not dream sequences, it's fantasy sequences, as if that makes any sodding difference. If you're this out of gas at the 30-minute mark, movie, just give up. Oh look, a little person. This just keeps getting better and better. And apparently we're on the set of Ricky 1 now.
What is that black hat on there to show respect to your dead brain? Oh, it's looking Speedo Bandito there. I like that. What are you, smuggling in a half a roll of certs? I do weddings in case your parents decide I'm getting married.
Wow, he KO'd him with the power of sheer lameness. But as I've pointed out, this movie is largely a tribute to the power of women in dripping wet swimsuits, which the movie cuts to when the pacing is flagging. It's basically a lot of spank material without quite being porn. I would like to remind you that this film is directed by a woman, who then went on to make something called Bikini Squad. But we're not objectifying them, nope, 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 because clumsily intercut through the movie are these talking heads with the pageant girls, including a surprisingly white Miss Jamaica. This is probably intended to show off their personalities. Well, if they had any. One of these bits is the ladies being asked about politics, including Miss Australia.
Oh, General Noriega. I think he should be killed for killing people who vote against him.
See, I have this really strong sense of smell. He probably doesn't use any form of personal hygienic protection. You know, if you put a pizza in the fridge for a couple of days, or maybe 10 days, and you got it out, I think that's probably a bit like what he smells like.
That's right, Burt Young is playing Colonel Noriega. Well, boy, if that doesn't date the movie instantly. For those of you who don't know, Colonel Noriega was the military governor of Panama and a massive dictator that allowed corruption, drug trafficking and murder during his regime. Oh, and he was overthrown in the same year this film was made, so it was about as topical as Rambo saving Afghanistan from the Russians. Yeah, not exactly the most perfect figure for a comedy, and I think the fact that he smells like a pizza is the least of his problems.
Yeah, Film Brain is a nice guy and all, but he does smell kind of funny. One of the commenters on our crossover said that he looked like if Mothra farted in a hamster cage. And they were right. He does smell like a hamster cage. And most certainly not like a baked fucking potato.
Noriega takes offence at Miss Australia's comments and summons terrorists with a moustache and terrorists without a shirt, as they are billed, to have her killed.
I want her killed. Her name is Miss Australia. You want us to kill that girl there in the videotape that you rented? We're gonna kill her. See?
Where is she? She's in the store with the videotapes?
Oh my god, this is so stupid it hurts! Even Chuckles is pointing out the plot hole, and he's probably got a brain the size of a peanut! And Noriega, because he's in a dumb movie, threatens them with execution. Always hilarious, I found, if they don't carry out his order, which they do, now in the events of the main narrative. So let me get this straight. He sent his men to kill this woman, and they've ended up on the events recorded on the videotape? What the shit kind of time paradox is that?
He never be a groom. He never catch a bride. It's a sad, sad world.
when your head looks like a pizza.
She said you smelt like a pizza, not looked like one. Besides, that's not the point. It's not a patch on this anyway.
I'm so ornery and sad, real wrong.
Elsewhere, Dickie has fallen violently seasick and he responds by turning the air blue for several minutes.
Fuck you. Fucking bullhorn out of nowhere, for Christ's sake. Fuck bullshit. Fucking playing Christ more stairs than fucking Notre Dame. Fuck. Fuck you. Fuck. Fuck that. I'm walking away from this. I'm fucking walking away from this.
Come on, man. Even Joe Pesci would call that fucking excessive. Dickie's hat ends up overboard and going to throw up. Dickie ends up getting locked in his bathroom. Miss Australia finds Dickie's hat, which results in an instant funeral? Okay, I know this isn't exactly reality given the main character's talking to the camera every sodding scene, but no one searches the ship or his room? This isn't wacky, it's just plain dumb. And here's another person of interest. That's Stephen Brill playing the priest, another friend of Sandler's who would go on to make such delights as Mr. Deeds and Little Nicky. And speaking of future famous people, what in the world? Is that Billy Zane?
Holy cow wheel!
Jackie! I am King Neptune, god of the sea. I couldn't help overhearing what you were thinking. But you have doubts, my son, doubts I just shouldn't have.
Wait.
Take the job as ship comedian, these people need you.
Well, hey, they need me? They need me?
Yes, they need you. What, are you fishing for compliments here? Everyone needs to laugh.
What's this? You're visited by the god of the sea in pointless walk-on cameo parts? Oh, Shecky. We're gonna have to subscribe you so many pills. Okay, the reason that he's in this movie is because he was the husband of the actress playing Miss Australia at the time, but I have no words for this. And even though he was cheered on by a mythical god, Shecky still got confidence issues.
No one's gonna hate you as long as you act natural. But I think if we sang a little song right now, you feel a little better. Okay.
Comedy, such a lovely lady.
I'd take the singing of Alvin and the Chipmunks any day compared to this. Movie, stop with the pointless musical numbers, stop with the pointless fantasy sequences, and the pointless fucking fourth wall breaking, and get to the bloody point already. So Shecky takes over, but surprise, it turns out to be terrible. And here we meet another future star.
You! Hi! What's your name?
Dave.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a construction worker.
Do you think that constructing is an easy job, or do you think it's a hard job?
Listen, butthole, why don't you quit trying to be funny, because all you're doing is pissing me off.
That, my friends, was the best scene in the movie, largely because Billy Bob said exactly what the audience is thinking at this point. Sadly, there are no more scenes with Billy Bob after this one. Shecky is heckled on the stage and Croker takes his place, and in more tedious filler crap, sings an entire rendition of his hit song Slap Your Cat, which would be funny if I could make out the lyrics. Anyone who's seen This Is Spinal Tap knows this character's a complete shit sandwich. Oh, and there's some rubbish about Noriega with a woman that we've never seen before and won't see again, wearing sunglasses that reflect the crew members responsible for this travesty, and I'm wondering what the point of it is. Not the movie, mind you, just life itself. And frankly, Noriega seems about as engaged in the movie as we are, and we certainly never see him laugh at it, and why should he with scenes like this?
My fans are not gonna accept.
Hey, let me out. It's Dickie Diamond. I'm in the fucking bathroom.
Oh, that's the guy. That's a dead guy. The comedian.
Let me out.
This ship is haunted, man. Get me off this ship. This ship is haunted. Get off this ship, man.
Yes! Get me off this boat! Have Lord Neptune sink it down to the bottom, nuke it from orbit, anything to end this suffering, please! Bob suggests that Shecky get on stage again and this time actually try jokes, even though he was the one who suggested he be more interactive with the audience in the first place. Not that it matters, because he dies a slow lingering death once again. Metaphorically speaking, of course, sadly not literally. He does what anyone would do in that situation, retreat into his own head.
I don't get it. I think this is funny. Is it me? Do I have no idea what makes people laugh? Do I know nothing about the art of comedy?
Judging by the amount of films you have in my review pile, you clearly don't. And who should show up inexplicably in Shecky's head but the longest penis in show business, Milton Berle, in an uncredited cameo.
What can I do for you?
I need your advice on getting laughs. I was on the ship, and I did my act, and nobody laughed.
Write these gags down, Shecky. I think all those beautiful queens will identify with them. Last week I dated a girl that had everything a man would want. Mustache, hair under the arms, bushy eyebrows. You talk about the same girl, you say, what a nose. She had a lifted to eat.
Of course, it's very easy to be funny when you're followed around by a laugh track, especially when what you're saying isn't actually funny. Although this cameo at first baffled me, as I thought about it further, and that's a dangerous thing to do when it comes to going overboard, it does actually make sense. See, Berle was famously a clean comedian, which places him in stark contrast to Dickie, who represents the raunchy shock comedians like Andrew Dice Clay that emerged during the 80s. So the film is attempting to be a celebration of the old-fashioned comedian, with Shecky/Sandler being the heir to Berle's throne. Of course, when you consider that Adam Sandler later became famous for films like this...
What the fuck is this?
It's water infused with cucumber, rose petal, and harvest sandalwood.
It tastes like fucking dick infused with balls.
It's hard not to find the film's message just a little bit ironic. Using a comedic phrase, as you might guess it takes him a while, he transports himself back onto the ship, where he is now an instant success, and what the hell? He's now wearing a green shirt instead of a pink one? Well, earlier in the movie, there was a scene where Bob and Shecky argued over whether Shecky should wear pink or green before eventually deciding on both. Symbolism! Of course, this could be a scene that they shot later to explain a blatant continuity error, and I know which explanation I'd rather choose. Shecky's success, however, is interrupted by the arrival of our time-warped terrorists, who proceed to use their lethal mugging at the camera skills, when not reflecting it in their sunglasses. Lots of supposedly wacky things happen, but the filmmakers have confused this with irritation. Oh, and Shecky's shirt changes again!
Hey, what's with the shirt?
I like the pink one, and Bob likes the green one. Which one do you like?
They both stink.
Fucking really? How hard is it to keep track of what shirt that you're wearing? Oh, movies are more professional than this. And then it changes right back to green again straight after they make that gag. And it keeps flip-flopping as this chase goes on for a small ice age. So basically, you could have edited those sections of the chase out and no one would have been the wiser. Why do you have to punish us like this, movie? Oh, and during the chase, Bob and Miss Australia fall in love for no reason because why not at this point? Eventually, the terrorists hold hostage this woman who keeps forgetting that she's supposed to act, forcing Miss Australia to come out. And even in a hostage situation, Shecky still talks to the camera.
That makes me nauseous. I don't want that. So, you know, if I get out there, there's a chance I'm gonna get shot, and I don't like that. And that's not good for my career either. You know that, and I know that.
I'd love it if the scene was punctuated by Shecky getting shot in the back from talking to camera, both ending the monologuing and the goddamn movie. But Shecky eventually surrenders, and the terrorists drag him onto the stage, where he inexplicably wins them over with his stand-up, convincing them to drop this killing malarkey and adopt their dormant dream of being comedians themselves. Terrible, terrible comedians.
What's invisible and smells, like carrots? Carrots. Okay, I know that one. It's little teeny bunny fart.
I know how you feel, Bert. Dickie finally gets the bathroom door open by praying to God, don't ask, and tries to stop the brutal pain coming from the stage. The crowd boos him because he's dead, and then the terrorists proceed to rectify that by knocking him out and throwing a blatant stunt double overboard.
Hello, good looking. Hello, darling. Hello, good looking. Hello, darling. Hello, good looking. Hello.
So I guess he either drowned or he committed suicide. Well, that's dark, movie. If you made it to this point in the movie, I don't think anyone would begrudge you for pulling an Elvis. And yet, unfortunately for us, the movie continues, as Shecky gives one final wrap-up yada yada yada, and King Neptune gives Shecky a token chick at the end, so we can finally end this monstrosity with a bunch of supposedly hilarious outtakes. And finally, Noriega does what the audience wants to do right now, and blow himself up with a grenade. If Adam Sandler had his way, every copy of Going Overboard would be lying at the bottom of the ocean, and you know what? I'd be right alongside him, chucking them in. It's pretty easy to peg this movie very early on in terms of how it got made and how it went wrong. It's pretty clear they didn't have any real plan aside from a ship, some swimsuit-clad women, and a plot that could fit on a postage stamp. As a result, this movie is clearly and painfully improvised, with actors desperately pulling funny faces to try and earn laughs and pad out the running time, and no one telling them that their ideas are terrible. Everyone is super annoying as a result, and Adam Sandler comes off particularly badly. He's supposed to be the underdog, but the impression is that of someone delusional about their abilities. There is nothing more brutal than an unfunny comedy, and there is no redeeming value in any of it. Not a single thing. Going Overboard is well deserving its place on IMDb's bottom 100, and if you know what's good for you, never ever watch it. Not even if you're a die-hard Adam Sandler fan. I'm Matthew Buck, beating down bad movies everywhere. Happy 100th, everyone!
Film Brain? No. To me, he'll always be Sir Wally Gobshite. My opinion of him? Now, the first time I met Film Brain, well, is behind a locked door because he locked me out of my room. And he disliked Equilibrium, which is a movie I've never seen, so I take real offense to that. So I give him -75 out of 10.